In this town, there's no off-season. The news never stops, and neither do we. It's always game day in Cleveland with Andy Baskin and Daryl Ryder.
It is always game day in Cleveland, brought to you by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. And just look at that. We have a new quarterback to talk about for this week's game against Cincinnati. Dorian Thompson-Robinson will get the start. Thought it was really interesting today when we heard press conferences from both DTR and Jameis Winston. And Jameis Winston kind of got to say his swan song a little bit today. And yeah. I don't know, you, Daryl, you were there. You tell me.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be back. The benching, I think, pretty much assures that. But he did leave the door open to the possibility of returning to the Browns next season. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's looking at this like it's his big 2025 audition. He obviously knows how everyone feels about Deshaun Watson. He sees an opportunity, but I think he's going to have to do a lot in these final three games because I think we all know who and what he is as a quarterback. And, you know, obviously we're going to get to see it. We'll get into what he gets to go against on Sunday. This might actually, Andy, be the first time he's actually set up for success on the field by the Browns. And that's obviously something that Kevin Stefanski in his Wednesday press conference really pointed to, and that is making sure that they give DTR a full week to prepare. He had 2 games last year where he got the full week to prepare, but I think there's still a chance we see Bailey Zappi if this goes south with DTR. But I kind of feel like this is a 3-game audition for DTR, even though Stefanski and the Browns won't say as much.
All right, so does he give them the best chance to look at another quarterback, or does he give them the best chance to win?
He's just someone to look at.
Yeah.
I mean, winning is immaterial at this point, right? All it's going to do is cost you draft position, and it doesn't matter at this point, right? So, as I said, I think in our post-game pod, I certainly said it on like our morning show. It just doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They're not up to. None of them are up to standard. None of them are going to get you to the playoffs, and you just need to get to the end of this miserable failure of a season, and then you can go dumpster diving for another, washed up quarterback in the offseason, which is what basically the Browns have pretty much done since 1999. Although if we do see Bailey Zappi, he becomes number 40. He would be the 40th different starting quarterback since 1999. So I'll just say this to the Browns. Be very careful who you pick to be number 40 on this list. It's very important.
Why? Why is this important? What are you talking about? I'm just nonsense.
I'm just being facetious.
It is scary to believe that that's where we're at this point. So what can DTR do to improve his stock? I know he talked about using his legs today.
Not throw a bunch of interceptions.
Listen, Daryl, when he gave his answer today about what he's expected to do, it was like Kevin Stefanski jumped into the camera or into the microphone and told him everything to say. Yes. And it's also something that we haven't seen from any of the quarterbacks this year about playing within yourself, about he said a lot of things that I think Browns fans are hoping that he can be.
Yeah, but a lot of quarterbacks say a lot of things that Browns fans hope they can be, and none of it is panned out. So, I mean, look, I wasn't expecting him to go up there and say, I just hope I don't stink the joint up. I'm just trying to get through these 4 quarters and be allowed to play the 4 quarters after that and then be allowed to play the final 4 quarters. He's not going to say any of that, right? So, of course, he's going to talk about being confident and how much he's learned since last year and what, but like, Cincinnati's defense is, it's crapola, right? They're not very good. So, I would say if he's not able to be successful against this defense, then yeah, it's that like he's.
So
Really,
I thought this was super interesting at the end of last week's game because Joe Burrow was not happy with their 10-point win over Tennessee. And we saw them kind of yapping at each other. There have only been 2 teams all season that have had 6 turnovers in one single game. One we know were the Browns. And we just watched that against Kansas City. The other, Tennessee, who Cincinnati played last week. So I can only imagine what's going through Cincinnati's head right now.
Yeah, I certainly understand Joe Burrow's frustration because he's having an MVP caliber year. He won't be considered for the award because his team is not going to make the playoffs. At least I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And their defense is terrible. I mean, the defensive rankings for the Bengals, I got them right in front of me here. Passing yardage, they are, or I should say points allowed per game. They're ranked 31st, giving up 10 more points per game than the Browns actually score per game, 27.6. The Browns are scoring a smidge over 17. They're 29th in overall defense. They're 20th against the run. They are 27th defending the pass. Hello. That's what I'm talking about. This is a prime opportunity for DTR to be successful. And then in turnover margin, they're tied for 13. They got a +2. The Browns are 31st at -16. The Browns have had. Are you ready for this, Andy?
No, I don't really want to hear it.
The Browns have had 27 turnovers. They're 28 turnovers. I'm sorry, this year. No, it is 27. 18 picks, 9 fumbles lost. Last year they had 37 turnovers.
Why is turnover on downs not considered a turnover?
It is a turnover.
But so how many turnovers did the Browns have last weekend?
6. So that was considered to be one of them.
No, I mean, 4 interceptions.
They had 4 interceptions, a fumble lost, and a turnover downs. 4 + 1 + 1 = 6.
I thought they had 2 fumbles last week. I don't know. It doesn't really matter because once you get more than 3, you're in trouble.
Yeah, the only fumble they had was the
Chubb.
No, that went as an interception because the ball never touched the ground.
The muff punt?
The muff punt was the fumble.
Ugh, what a wicked game. Again, what did you think of what Jameis had to say? I thought Jameis was very supportive. I thought he was very classy, actually. Tough spot. I mean, who wants to sit there and go, well, hey, you just got fired. Let's answer some questions. This is great.
I mean, look, he handled the benching as professionally as I've seen a quarterback here handle the benching. To his credit, he wasn't combative. He wasn't grumpy with us. Some questions he had very short answers to, understandably, and then some he was very expansive in his thought. So, I thought he handled it, and I expected him to. Like I certainly didn't expect him to get up there and, trash the organization or trash Kevin Stefanski or whatnot. He gets it. He understands where the Browns are at. They've got to take a look at DTR here, see if there's a little something there before they do the offseason quarterback dumpster diving that they're, going to be doing. And I thought he gave some really good answers as well. It's not like he really did. The one thing that still amuses me is when he's talking about the interceptions and he knows he's better than that. And I just want to hug him and say, Jameis, I'm sorry, but you're not better than that. We've watched you for 10 years. It's what you do. You throw a lot of interceptions. Like, God bless you. God love you. But like the mistake that he made, God actually did deliver him from the pick sixes. He hadn't thrown a pick 6 since Denver, but God did not deliver him from interceptions, and that's where he made his mistake with his prayer. He should have asked the Lord to deliver him from interceptions. So he got what he wanted or what he requested from God. He was.
I'll be honest, when you're throwing interceptions into the end zone, those should be called pick sixes too, because they've denied you 6 points.
You just had to go corny, dad driving a minivan on me.
No, I just think it's true. Those should be called. They should have special names when you get picked off in the end zone. All right, it's always game day in Cleveland. We have many, many, many more things to talk about with this exciting 3-win team. I'm just glad you made it through the first 9 minutes and 38 seconds of this podcast with us, because we are pumped that you are here, and we have so many fun things to talk about, like anyone who's watching on YouTube right now, Daryl has a couple surprises behind him. Have you figured them out yet? We'll talk about that when we come back. It's always game day in Cleveland. It's always game day in Cleveland. I'm Andy Baskin. He's Daryl Ryder. Thanks for listening to us on the Odyssey app, and especially those folks that are watching us on YouTube. Thank you. We do truly appreciate you as we talk about this 3-win Browns football team that is just not good right now. And, they switched quarterbacks. They're going to DTR, and we talked about that in the first segment. Daryl, why don't you give the folks what they want to see, and especially, and you have to describe it for the folks that are listening on Odyssey, all the great wonders that now sit behind you in this expansive bobblehead world that you live in.
Well, so I added one, and I've got another on the way.
Okay.
So I've got a new bit. Okay. The Cleveland Browns were named after Paul Brown.
Right.
And the original franchise. And so they're the Paul Browns, the original Browns. 1946 to 1995 version. Paul Browns. They won some championships.
Won a lot of championships.
Yeah, they won, but not all of them are recognized by the modern snobs, the Super Bowl era snobs. That particular trophy case still sits empty, but at one time the Browns were the New York Yankees of football. They were excellence personified. Mm-hmm. Well, everyone thought that after the team moved and fans flooded the fax machines and protested and sued in court to get the team back, that they were getting the Paul Browns 2.0. That's not happened. We've gotten the Charlie Browns. There is no character that personifies the cluster F that is this iteration of the Cleveland Browns than Charlie Brown.
Wow. A lot of effort got into this.
He's lovable. He's ridiculously stupid at times. He gives it all he has at times. He is an unmitigated disaster and failure at times. And so I figured that if I'm going to, because the Browns don't have bobbleheads, a lot of them, but I figured that I needed a bobblehead to signify what it means to be a Browns fan. And so I have gotten my hands on, you can see it over my shoulder.
Go ahead, pick it up, show everybody, put it right there.
Here we go.
Let everybody that knows. Daryl's now currently turned around. He has picked up this, and here he comes.
I give you Charlie Brown. There he is.
Oh, look at him.
In a Browns. There he is. I mean, and check this out. Look at that. He's got the Charlie Brown jersey.
Yeah. So
he's heavy too, by the way. And he's,
they should have put all the quarterbacks' names on the back of that thing.
Well, he'd need to be even bigger. So I got Charlie Brown to represent just what an unmitigated disaster this franchise is. And I felt like for the It's Always Game Day in Cleveland podcast audience,
yes,
you got to tweak the staging every once in a while. And I figured that this bobblehead pays perfect tribute.
It kind of looks like Peppermint Patty. I'm not going to lie.
The current iteration of the Cleveland Browns. They are the Charlie Browns of football. The lovable losers that can never do anything or get anything right, no matter how hard they try.
Wow. A lot of effort put into that, Daryl. A lot of effort, a lot of thought. You should be proud of yourself.
Well,
all the effort, all the thought. And
you know what? It's all in fun, too. You got to have a little sense of humor, especially if you're a Browns fan. Like, you've got to have a sense of humor, because if you don't laugh at it and how bad it is to be a Browns fan, you just cry all the time, and nobody wants that.
Daryl,
right?
Did you hear the fan in front of the press box? Because sometimes we sit together. I think it was sitting for this. There was one fan. He was all over Ken Dorsey like nobody's business. I don't know that I've heard or seen that in quite some time.
No, there's fans in front of the press box, and not directly in front of us, but in front of the core beat writers, where Mary Kay Cabot sits, Petrack sits, Tony Grossi sits, and they just bang on the windows every time something really bad happens. and you can hear them cussing up a storm.
Oh.
And then also, too, in the rare occasions that something good happens, like they're banging on the windows and cheers. Like, we have nothing to do with anything that's going on down on that
It's
field.
your fault, Daryl. They suck because of you, and you're negative, and you're wrong.
And I make fun of their incompetence with bobbleheads. But no, it is it's startling at times. At times it's amusing, but like, yeah, there are some that really, really take this thing seriously. And
Daryl, let me get back to the Browns. You think anybody's losing their job?
Right now, no.
Nobody in the front office is losing their job.
You didn't ask me if anyone should lose their job. You asked me if anyone's going to lose their job. I think right now, I'm going to believe and take Jimmy Haslam at his word at the owners' meetings that while perplexed as he may be at these results, which I don't know, they're fairly easy to see why they suck. That he's not going to make changes. These are his guys, Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. Certainly can make a better case for Stefanski staying than Andrew Berry staying. But I'm going to take him at his word right now. However, this is going to be a long,
3 weeks,
excruciating 3 weeks before this season from hell wraps up. So buckle up. Things can change over the course of 3-4 weeks. There's a reason I call those proclamations in season from owners the kiss of death.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't want to say that Jimmy Haslam gave those guys the kiss of death, but I do feel like there's a chance it might have been the kiss of death. Because how many times, I mean, you've been around a little longer than I have. I mean, how many times have you seen owners come out and give vocal support in a horrible season?
Oh, he's my man.
And then at the end of the year,
guy, look at that. Hey, noogie. Oh, rub your head. This is awesome. Oh, you're fired.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. Not for long. They walk away from the microphone and what they said in the moment was true. And then 3 steps later, the moment became, I got to fire this guy.
The moment became, I just realized that this is not going to happen. Like, I've got to make changes. One thing that is going to be very intriguing to watch, and I made a note of it here, is Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
Where is he going to end up? There's a lot of fire, a lot of smoke that he could end up with the Chicago Bears. I don't know that's going to happen. I don't know if he would fit, because I think they need an offensive coach there, which means that if they do hire him, he's going to have to be, he's going to have to hire a strong offensive coordinator. But he's going to be a hot commodity, I think, this offseason. And
now that Bill Belichick's off the board, right?
Yeah, because Bill is now at. I still can't believe he took that Carolina job. I still can't believe it.
How long will he be there?
I think he'll be there for 3 years. How long before Michael Lombardi gets that program in trouble? Or how long until Michael Lombardi tries to get the athletic director fired? Or how long before Michael Lombardi tries to get somebody else at that university or in the football program fired? Because that's what Michael Lombardi has a history of.
Well, someone's got to take the heat in case Bill makes a mistake, so it'll be on him.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, one of the great moments in Brown's history, modern Charlie Brown's history, is the Michael Lombardi introductory press conference sitting next to Joe Banner. I don't think I've told this story on the podcast. And since there's really nothing we really want to talk about with this team,
I have something else. We'll bring it up next time.
I think story time with Daryl. This is a good time for a little story time.
Well, wait. Well, let's take a break. No. Let's take a break.
Real quick.
Come on. We're like, Daryl, take a break. We'll come back. It's a great tease. It's a great tease. Eat it. You good?
All right. I'm waiting.
All right. Story time with Daryl when we return on It's Always Game Day in Cleveland. All right. Now that you've come back from the commercials, we're excited that you're back. And now we will deliver what we promised. We are going to pay this thing off. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Basketball, brought to you by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solutions. All right, Daryl, let's play a little story time. What do you got about Michael Lombardi and story time?
So his introductory press conference, sitting next to Joe Banner, and basically, I think that might have been the most hostile press conference I've ever been a part of.
Was that the Three Stooges press conference?
No. This was his introductory press conference.
How could it have been that bad?
Oh, it was bad because
there were people that didn't like him from the first time he was here.
There are people that remembered him from the first time he was here. And so Joe Banner, in the middle of the press conference, quickly writes something on a piece of paper, slides it over to Mike. Mike looks at it, and then, so press conference wraps up. I noticed that Joe and Mike did not collect the piece of paper from this. And I'm kicking myself to this very day. I should have kept the piece of paper as a souvenir.
Yeah.
So would you like to know what Joe Banner wrote to Michael Lombardi in the middle of that very hostile introductory press conference?
Yeah, I guess so.
He wrote 3 words.
Okay.
Keep it short. And it's one of my favorites because, like I said, it was such a hostile introductory press conference because folks that covered the Paul Browns, actually worthy of your time, effort, and energy to pay them attention because they would win more often than they would lose from 1946 to 1995. He was here, and he was basically a cancer when he was here. And so the anticipation was him coming back. They basically were injecting themselves with more cancer. Turns out, yes, indeed, they injected themselves with some more cancer. So that moment where Joe B tried to help out Michael at that introductory press conference is forever seared in my brain. Great moments in Charlie Brown's history.
Good story.
It's short.
Story time with Daryl Ryder. Daryl, what's going on with the Dome?
Well, the governor came in last week to try and mediate some things between the city of Cleveland and Browns ownership. We'll see. I do think that this Modell lawsuit is going to get settled.
The Browns are suing the city so far, right?
Well, the reason that they're suing is because they didn't want the city jamming up their timeline with a lawsuit while the Browns are already constructing a dome.
Right.
You don't want to be investing that kind of money in a building and then all of a sudden a court says, oh, by the way, you're not even allowed to play in it. So the Browns filed that. I think that suit will ultimately get settled. I think the Browns are going to have to cut a check to the city of Cleveland. I'm not saying it's right. I think it's ridiculous. They will have fulfilled the terms of the lease. They should be able to walk away. The spirit of the Modell law was to keep teams in their respective markets in Ohio, Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland. The Browns are remaining in the market. They're not going off to San Antonio, Texas, or to some faraway market. The city of Cleveland can't afford the Browns to begin with. They can't afford stadium debt. They can't afford the things that come with having 3 pro sports teams in town. But the city's going to, I think, get their pound of flesh from the Browns. I think that the deal's going to, this is just my opinion. I want to stress that to folks, okay? Just based on some things I've heard, this is my informed opinion, what I believe is going to happen. I believe that the Browns will agree to demolish the existing stadium.
Wow, that's nice of them. Because I think if the city of Cleveland wanted to play hardball in this, we'd be sitting there with that dome for years. I'm sorry. We'd be sitting there with the stadium for years.
And then I also think that the Browns will make a contribution toward the redevelopment of that land. They will. I predict that they will also make a financial contribution to assist with the redevelopment of the land, which, by the way, neither of those things the Browns are responsible for. Neither of those things the Browns should be obligated to do. But I think that, you know how it goes. You have to grease.
Sounds like a big shakedown to me, baby.
That's what it sounds like to me too. But I think that's how this gets resolved. I don't know where the county is going to fit in on this. Chris Ronayne,
the county doesn't even know Brook Park is in Cuyahoga County.
Yeah. Chris Ronayne has been very resistant. He doesn't really want to talk to the Browns about this. He's adamant that they stay downtown. One area that I think Chris has a significant argument and that I have a concern with is NEO Trans blog. Want to give them some credit here. I read their piece over the weekend. They spoke to RTA. Remember, there's the red line that goes out to the airport.
Right.
Well, they spoke to RTA and the Browns have not contacted them. There's no engagement. There are no talks. There are no plans to extend and build a rapid transit stop for the Dome. And I think that is not great on the Browns' part. I think that complex should absolutely be accessible by public transportation. A driving force behind this whole project, Andy, is the parking. Honestly,
sure.
I think if the city of Cleveland said to the Cleveland Browns, we will give you all the parking spaces around the stadium, the Muni lot, the Willard garage, the North lot, the pit lot that's on the western side of the stadium. We'll give you the revenues for all that. And that goes into your pockets. I think the Browns would renovate the existing stadium and stay.
Wow.
But the city's not doing that. The city, in the offer that they gave toward the renovation, was, hey, we're going to take revenues from the Muni lot and the Willard garage. And I think it's the Willard garage. If it's not, I apologize. It's the garage that's right under City Hall. We're going to take the revenues from those two parking locations, but they don't go into your pockets. They go to cover our obligations toward the stadium repairs. That's not what the Browns want. The Browns want the additional revenue streams of a multi-mixed-use development project plus 20 to 25,000 team controllable parking spaces that they're going to charge probably between $75 and $100 for. Jerry Jones charges $100 to park at Jerry World in Arlington, Texas. To park in Pittsburgh, up the hill from Acrisure, is that the name of the stadium? Acrisure Stadium, whatever the hell they call that thing. Okay, to go up the hill from
our punter, Bjorkes. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so whatever the thing is called, the old Heinz Field. But it's $75 to. You basically have to walk a mile up that hill.
Wow.
There's no parking around that stadium. There's
no parking in our place now. I don't even know.
What's that?
I quit looking at signs.
I think it's 60. I think it's $60 or $65 to park now.
Wow.
Because remember, the city of Cleveland, to raise money for the new parking meter system downtown to get us into the modern age of where you can buy parking on your cell phones.
Right.
They raised the special event rate prices for city lots. It used to be like a limit of $20. So now I think the Muni lot is charging $60 or $65. It's more if you've got one of those camper trailer things.
Yeah.
And then the lot on the north side of the stadium and the west side of the stadium, I think those are both $60 or $65. So, and look, I mean, I know because Gateway East next to the ballpark and arena is now owned by the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah.
So the price for that,
bye-bye, isn't it? They're getting rid of it.
Well, at some point they will, or they're going to make it smaller or something. They want to do a
mall, isn't it?
They want to do like a ballpark village, but they're not even in a conceptual design stage on that yet. Like they haven't even got, like they're trying to get this renovation to the finish line first.
Right.
But that garage, I forget but it went up. The price for Cavs games, I noticed the parking's gone up there.
No, it's amazing. I mean, it's relative. I think it's only like $20.
No, it's gone up. It's over $30 now.
Oh, it is. I was always.
And then Dan Gilbert,
you drive by all these other lots, and then you get next to the place.
So across the street from the field house,
Mhm.
where that nucleus project was supposed to go, and then
Yeah.
they tore down that decrepit parking garage and put a parking lot in there for now.
Yeah.
Those are like 65 bucks to park. So, so let's say the Browns charge $75 at the Dome to park. That's worth over $1.8 million per event
Ooh,
in revenue.
1.8 per event.
Yes. So that is why parking is so vital to the Browns in their pursuit of this Dome project. Is a massive revenue stream for them, as is the mixed use development, which is going to get built in stages. And my prediction on that is they're only going to build the first stage because they're going to figure out we don't need any more $750,000 condos in the metro Cleveland area. Like
Sure.
we need 125, 150 sub $200,000 condos for folks to be able to afford to live in.
Yeah.
In Northeast Ohio. And that's, look, this is all being done with the premium ticket holder in mind, right?
All I know is this: when I do my post-game show on TV, all the people that go in and out of those real high expensive seats, those like $1,000 seats down on the field, I have never seen a group of more wasted people than those guys.
Yeah.
Oh my God, every week.
But so
hammered.
The team posted a 20-minute video interview with the one of the architects of the
I saw
Dome.
that.
The seats are going to be the closest in the NFL. It's the smallest to the field in the NFL.
Wow.
The visitors are going to come out next to the dog pound. And the dog pound is going to be just like the Clippers arena, a steep wall. So the fans could be on top of the action there.
Mm-hmm.
The upper deck is going to be the smallest in the NFL. Obviously, that's so they can sell more premium seating closer to the field. You pay more money. But that like the Browns are not building this dome for the average fan. Okay. Yeah. They're not. They are building this dome so that they can increase their revenue. And my advice to them is you better start fielding a winning product. Because it's been 26 years.
Did you see what the Suns did today?
No.
They thought that the average family of four that was going to a Suns game was paying they're charging like $2 for a hot dog, drinks, water, popcorn. So they Ishba, the guy that owns the team, said we can't do this to our families. And so you can pretty much a family of four can get a couple hot dogs and popcorn and drinks for $25. The teams are going to have to start doing this if they want families to keep coming down. So.
Well, I have actually done the math, and I can't imagine the commitment. Like I can't fathom having disposable income that would allow me to be a season ticket holder, whether it's for the Guardians, the Cavs, or the Browns. Because the
Guardians will work it out so that you can be like a small-time season ticket holder.
Yeah,
well, like
because I get the and listen, I've seen the comments from fans at times to me where they're like, "Oh, you get to sit in your press box, you don't have to pay for your ticket," and and that's totally fair. Granted, it's also my job to be there, but I have done the research and I have a pretty good understanding of the financial commitment that fans of all three teams in town make as season ticket holders. And like I said, I fantasize. I actually fantasize about having that kind of disposable income to where I could be a season ticket holder for one of those teams and go to games, pay for parking, get concessions, hit up the team store for some new fresh swag every year and stuff like that. So my thing is, I would like to see the Browns, and they try. Like, this isn't an effort thing for them. Like, they're not trying to lose. They're not trying to be the laughing stock of football. They're not trying to be the Charlie Browns. They're just naturally the Charlie Browns. They suck at everything they do and every way in which they do it. And sometimes it's comedic gold, and sometimes it makes you laugh, and sometimes it makes you cry, and sometimes it makes you want to break things. But that's what the Browns do. At some point, though, it is a 22. I got to make sure I get the math right. 22-4 ratio. 4 winning seasons to 22 losing seasons since this team has come back. That is the reward Browns fans have gotten for 26 seasons, Andy. They've gotten 1 playoff victory. That's their payoff for hammering the commissioner's office with faxes back in the day, protesting in the streets, going to court and suing the NFL, suing Art Modell. Their reward is the Charlie Browns, who have 4 winning seasons against 22 losing seasons, 18 of those of the double-digit loss varieties. Browns fans deserve better from this franchise. And if the Haslams want to make more money and keep printing money, they need to start delivering for their fans a winning product year in and year out. It's that simple. You want to charge for $75 to park cars at your place? Fine. Pay for it yourself. Build it yourself. You want to charge $30,000 PSLs or whatever you're going to figure out that you're going to charge for PSLs, then build the place yourself. If you want to raise your ticket prices because it's a new building and you're financing it, then build it yourself. Don't ask taxpayers for any money because you get the profit from it. This isn't the early 90s where NFL teams weren't getting hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue from the league. Okay.
Right.
I haven't looked at what the Green Bay, that's the beauty of the Packers being publicly owned. We get the financials become public.
Right.
And it's like $300 million. The payroll is covered. And, basically local stuff, is profit in the NFL because of the network deals and the merchandising and all that. And yes, the players get their cut and player salaries are escalating, and they should be. As the profits go up, the players should keep making more money. But my thing is with this dome now, you know what? If you want it,
pay for it.
Yeah, pay for it. Build it yourself. Don't wait for these politicians, because if you're waiting for the politicians to give you free money, now it does sound like the state's going to give them a little bit of money, though, for sure. So, because Cincinnati's getting some too. All right, Daryl, we got to roll, man. We are on a roll. So we'll be back after the Cincinnati game with our post. Evan O'Brien is our amazing producer. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. It is always game day in Cleveland.